Hello friends, it's Chris with Acton Creative, and this is a handwoven experience. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about floating selvages or no floating selvages. So let's start at the top. What is a floating selvage? Floating selvage is a warp yarn that hangs out at the edge of your fabric. You always have a pair of them, one on each side, and its job is to do just that, float. And the way you set that up is that it goes through the reed, but not through a heddle. That allows it to stay still while all of your other yarns are moving. And while its job may seem kind of boring, it's very important because there are weaving patterns that inherently the weft won't always go from edge to edge, right? Have you ever done a twill and you haven't had floating selvages? You have these odd picks where the yarn stops shy of the edge, maybe 2, 3, 4 yarns in, and that's no dice. We don't like that. It needs to go all the way from edge to edge with every pick, and that is where floating selvages really shine in all of their stillness, just hanging out there on the edges. So while I have no problem with them, I kind of like floating selvages. I have certainly run into weavers that find them kind of cumbersome because they might get saggy, they might stick to the other yarns, they're just not doing their job as they should. So I've had folks ask me, is there another option? Can I do something instead of, finagling floating selvages? So here's what I wanted to bring up today as just a couple options for you to consider. First of all, let's consider that I don't have this. Just pretend with me, this is just another warp yarn down here. So take your shuttle through the shed space, right? Switch, come around. Now, if you just send it back the other way, the sucker's not gonna come all the way to the edge. So you have the option to manually wrap it around whichever yarn is at the edge, whether it's at the top or the bottom. Just take that little guy, point the nose up through there, just manually, just wrap it right around. Send it back the other way. That is one way that you can always guarantee that your weft yarn is going to go from edge to edge with every pick, right? Just like that. The other thing that I want to mention is that there can be occasions where you can alter the threading to help your selvages, the edges of your fabric. Now, with 4 shafts, which is what I have not found a lot of options for that, but my understanding is that if you have 8 shafts, then you're cooking with gas, and you can thread it such that you have like a little touch of plain weave at the edges, and that always guarantees you have something to wrap around, because that's what we're after. We just need something to wrap around on each edge of our fabric. That's all we're looking for. So get creative, friends. If you really are anti-floating selvage, there are other options for you. Just keep your eyes out and keep your eyes open and see what you can come up with to find another way to avoid the floating selvages. Now, I've got a little bonus for my Acton Creative Insiders because I have some ideas on how to manage your floating selvages. So if you're interested in learning more about floating selvages and what you can do to make sure that they're doing their job, come on over to the Acton Creative Insiders membership and check out the information in the resource center, because I'll leave a little video there for you with some other ideas. So tell me, friends, are you pro floating selvages, anti floating selvages, have no opinion one way or the other? Let me know your thoughts on floating selvages. All right, let's go play with some patterns that need floating selvages. Have a great week. Happy weaving.